I remember this story. I covered this too. It's sort of indisputable. This is about a year ago. This happened. Yeah, that the police seize a girl's pet goat and slaughter it, and they barbecued it and ate it. Yeah, we'll get an update. Girl wins $300,000, more than a quarter of a million, after cops seize her pet goat for barbecue. Yes, update. Girl wins $300,000 over seizure and slaughter of her pet goat. Yes, let's go to it.
Seizing a child's goat, citing a ridiculous rule,
Yeah.
and then they decided to barbecue and eat the damn goat. It was a pet.
It was a pet.
To her. That girl wins $300,000 now due to the police and their malicious conduct. So a child has finally received that $300,000 settlement after her pet goat was slaughtered by deputies. Indisputable covered the story when the traumatic incident first occurred. Jessica Long discovered where her 9-year-old daughter's pet goat was, and it was too late to save it. Sheriff's deputies had seized the goat, named Cedar, in 2022, while he was staying at a Northern California farm. They delivered him to Shasta County. These were fair officials, okay, who claimed that the county owned the goat. Court documents say Cedar was later slaughtered, according to the documents, and the family sued county officials. Now, the county and its sheriff office will pay $300,000. Excuse me, the taxpayers will pay it, actually, courtesy of the taxpayers here. DeLong's family is part of a settlement agreement. The deal approved by the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of California, judge said Friday, quote, is the first step of the Long family moving forward, said Vanessa Shakib, the family's attorney. Quote, we can't get justice here because Cedar can never come home. Shakib, co-founder of the nonprofit Advancing Law for Animals, which specializes in animal law, told the Washington Post. She added, quote, but what's important is that we make sure that this never happens again to another family, and that government officials understand that animals are not property, they are family members. So here's what happened prior to the settlement. In June 2022, Long and her daughter exhibited Cedar for potential buyers at the fair, the district fair. This was called the Junior Livestock Auction in Anderson, California, according to the lawsuit. On the auction's final day, the girl decided she could not bear to lose her Cedar, okay? But fair representatives said withdrawing was prohibited. Man, please. All right. So they said, no, that's prohibited. You cannot have your pet back. Insane, right? So Cedar, who was about 7 months old at the time, was auctioned off for $902. Fearing the goat would be slaughtered for his meat, Long's daughter cried, refused to leave the animal to fair officials, the lawsuit says. Long took her daughter and Cedar home, telling fair representatives that she would pay for any financial losses her decision caused, according to the lawsuit. Worried her county neighbors would be upset, Long took Cedar to a farm in Sonoma County, California. Okay? More than 200 miles away. What are they doing? They're hiding Cedar.
To protect the Cedar.
Okay. Cedar hot right now. Got a warrant out for his arrest. You got to hide him. They're trying to seize the damn goat. And so she not only says, listen, I care much more about the happiness of my child than the money you're talking about. So let me just go ahead and pay for your trouble, and we'll work it out that way. So she goes 200 miles away, where she thought Cedar obviously would be safe, according to the lawsuit. Here's what happened. Later in June, a livestock manager at the fair called Long and demanded she return Cedar. The next day, Long sent a letter to the fair that said that 3 of her daughter's grandparents had died within the past year, and that she could not bear the thought of her losing Cedar, the lawsuit says. The fair denied their request, and the goat was then seized and slaughtered. That is what happened. Obviously, I got some questions. Number one, why were they not charged with conspiracy? I'm talking about the fair officials and everybody else, because the initial lie was, no, that is prohibited. No, it's not. That's not how property transaction works. There's no contract if there's no sale. So you telling me I can't have my pet back, even though...
You know, I think it's crazy too. Like, some people act like, that like animals are just a piece of meat or to eat like that. They don't look at the value of, animals in nature or certain animals as pet. Animals are like us. They're trying to survive. They're trying to go out there and society. They're trying to survive and prosper, and to keep going to the food chain. That way they can have like young ones. I mean, like deer do, geese do, eagles. Man, we're coming up now in the time of year where bald eagles are starting to lay eggs. The females are, and about a couple weeks now they're going to be hatching. So yeah, eagles and goats and deer and the rest of us pets, even your pets like dogs and cats, they're out here trying to survive. And people value certain animals as pets. I mean, they value them like their own children.
No, there's no contractual transaction yet. We'll come back later tonight. So this was the first manipulation, obviously, for whatever purposes, criminal.
I mean, heck. I mean, it's crazy to be like, well, why would anybody have a pet goat? Well, I got a neighbor down the street. A neighbor down the road, probably about 6 miles. I mean, down the road. Debbie. She had a dog, a wild geese, and a pig as a pet. Some people look at it like, oh man, that's a big pig, man. We can butcher that, get some pork and some pork chops and bacon. Like, Debbie's like, you can try to even touch my pig, I'm coming after you. This is my pet. And it's like, heck yeah. And I used to go visit down there, and I asked her, like, what kind of stuff does your pig like to eat? I forget what she told me, but yeah, sometimes I bring like some snacks first like that for the pig, and oh man, that pig come up to me, oh my nose, my hand, oh, just loving it like that. It was so cute.
Criminal or civil, and here we are. Now, naturally, that child does not give a damn about the money at all.
Exactly.
She much would prefer to have Cedar back. I remember as a young child, I loved my dog who died, and that ruined my whole damn week, month, year.
Yeah.
So I get it. So, Ben, I don't understand how everybody did, brother. I mean, all of these grown people are this heartless, and all they wanted to do is eat the goat.
It's very confusing. At the beginning of the story, I was going to make some sarcastic jokes, and then I just remembered I have my son Henry Horse sitting right here in my lap.
Look at that. Look at that.
Teary-eyed for the second half of the story instead.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, and there's one right there. Yeah. That's a pet right there. That's a cat right there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's why, like, last year, people were like, and people did, some vicious, heartless people did the same thing with Aaron, saying, oh, we're going to take your dog away. Dude, it'd be a cold day in hell. Aaron told, and I said the same thing. I said, it'd be cold day in hell if they're take my cat away. I said, you're going to have to go through me to even get to my cat, because I'll put up a nasty body shield. Yeah, that's how we are. We treat our pets like our children. That's how we are.
It's just so weird when how much in this country, how often we value commerce.
Yeah, it's just people like look at like animals as just like property. I mean, how vicious and ruthless people gonna like, oh, it's like it's a piece of meat. Oh, it's a meal. Come on, it's crazy.
value business. We value money over heart and love and care. And I mean, a child's goat. Like, what kind of Dickensian
Right.
evil character do you have to be to do that to a young girl? And was the goat needed for some big job? The goat was barbecued. I mean, at least you got $300,000, which I think is a fair amount of money in compensation for this. If I were this young girl, just to spite the county, I'd spend all 300K on goats. I wanted
Hell yeah.
hundreds of goats. I wanted to be drowning in goats.
I bet she'll probably want a couple goats, maybe a cat and a couple dogs if I were her. I'd be doing that. I'd be having a backyard full of pets, a couple goats, a dog, a couple cats, maybe a pet rabbit on that. Why not?
I think
right.
that's the move. That's the
That's
move.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. Well, the ending is the ending. Unfortunately, a whole lot of adults decided to rip happiness from a child.
Yeah. And then that shows you how cruel people are. It's like they don't care or they don't value your happiness. It's all about greed. It's about egotism at its finest. All right, man, here, my job. Peace out.